Park Yuna woke up in darkness. Her head hurt badly, and she could taste blood in her mouth. For a moment, she did not know where she was. The air was hot and wet, like a jungle. Strange sounds came from all around her. Insects that did not sound like any insect from Earth. Birds that screamed instead of singing. She tried to move her arms. They worked. She tried to move her legs. They worked too. That was good. She was not tied up. She was not broken. Yuna sat up slowly and looked around. The place was dark, but 2 moons in the sky gave some light. They were large and orange, much bigger than Earth's moon. She was on an alien world. She remembered now. Her ship, the attack, the screaming. The survey ship Dauntless had been her home for 3 years. 47 crew members. Scientists, engineers, pilots. Good people. They had been mapping a new star system when the unknown ships appeared. There was no warning, no communication, just weapons fired that tore through their hull like paper. Yuna had been on the bridge when the explosion happened. After that, everything went black. Now she was here. Wherever here was, she checked her body. Her combat armor was gone. Her helmet was gone. Her communication device was gone. Her emergency beacon was gone. Everything useful had been taken from her. Almost everything. Her hand moved to her hip. The pistol was still there. She pulled it out and checked the magazine. 10 rounds. Just 10 bullets between her and whatever lived on this moon. Her other hand moved to her boot. The knife was still there too. A simple military blade, 7 inches long. Sharp enough to cut through bone. 10 rounds and a knife. That was all she had. A sound came from the jungle in front of her. Something was moving through the trees. Something big. Yuna stood up and raised her pistol. Her hands were steady. She had been a soldier before she became a survey ship officer. Old training never really goes away. The creatures that stepped out of the shadows were not human. They were tall, maybe 7 feet, with bodies covered in black armor that looked like the shell of an insect. They had 4 arms, each ending in claws that looked sharp enough to cut steel. Their heads had no eyes that Yuna could see, but they had large mandibles that clicked together when they moved. There were 6 of them. They formed a half circle around her, blocking any escape. One of them stepped forward. It was bigger than the others, and its shell had marks carved into it. Symbols of some kind. Maybe rank. Maybe kills. When it spoke, the sound came from a small device on its chest. A translator. "The prey awakens," it said. The voice was deep and clicking, but the words were clear. Yuna did not lower her pistol. "Who are you? Where's my crew?" The creature made a sound that might have been laughter. "I am Kovan, Eye Hunter of the Wreck. Your crew is dead. All of them. We took what we needed from your ship and destroyed the rest." Yuna felt something cold settle in her chest. 47 people. Her friends. Her family. Gone. Why? She asked. Her voice was flat. Empty. "Because we are hunters," Korvan said. "The greatest hunters in the galaxy. For 3,000 cycles, we have hunted every species we have found. It is our way. It is our religion. It is our blood." He stepped closer. Yuna could smell him now. A strange smell, like metal and rotting leaves. "We found your species recently. Humans, small, soft, no claws. No armor, no venom. We thought you would be poor sport." He made that laughing sound again. "But you fought. When we attacked your ship, you fought back. You killed 3 of my hunters before we could take you down. 3. His mandibles clicked rapidly. Yuna understood that this was important to him. "That is why you are here," Korvan continued. "You have been chosen for the blood rite, the sacred hunt. You are prey, but you are worthy prey. If you survive until the twin moons set, you earn your freedom. If you die, your skull joins our collection." Yuna looked at the pistol in her hand, then at the 6 hunters around her. "You left me a gun," she said. 10 rounds, Korvan confirmed. "And your blade." "We are not without honor. We give our prey a chance. A small chance. It makes the hunt more interesting. Just 10 rounds against 6 of you? We want to give you hope," Korvan said. "Hope makes prey run faster, fight harder, die better. It makes the hunt more satisfying." Yuna was quiet for a long moment. The jungle sounds filled the silence. Strange creatures calling to each other in the darkness. Then she asked a question that made Korvan pause. "What if I don't run?" The hunters looked at each other. Their mandibles clicked in confusion. "All prey runs," Korvan said. "Every species we have hunted runs. It is the nature of prey. Is it?" Yuna lowered her pistol. "Not in surrender. In thought. Let me tell you something about humans, Korvan. Something you should know before this hunt begins." She met his eyeless face with a stare that had no fear in it. "On our world, we were not the strongest animals. We were not the fastest. We had no claws, no fangs, no armor. Everything wanted to eat us. Lions, tigers, bears, wolves, snakes, sharks. For 1,000,000 years, we were hunted." She smiled. It was not a nice smile. "We didn't just survive. We killed them all. We hunted the hunters until there were almost none left. We became the thing that predators feared. Not because we were stronger, not because we were faster, but because we never, ever stopped." She raised her pistol again, pointing it directly at Korvan's head. "You think 10 rounds is a handicap? You think I need more than 10 rounds for 6 of you?" For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Korvan made his laughing sound again. But this time, Yuna thought she heard something else in it. Something that might have been doubt. "The hunt begins when the twin moons reach their highest point," he said. "You have until then to prepare. Use the time wisely, human. It will be your last." The hunters vanished into the jungle. One moment they were there, the next they were gone, swallowed by shadows. Yuna was a lone dot. She looked up at the twin moons. They were still climbing. She had maybe 2 hours before the hunt began. 2 hours to prepare. Yuna holstered her pistol and drew her knife. Then she walked into the jungle. She was not going to hide. She was not going to run. She was going to do what humans had done for 1,000,000 years. She was going to hunt. The predators had made a mistake. They had left her with 10 rounds and a knife, thinking it would make her weak, thinking it would make her desperate. They did not understand. Human with nothing to lose and everything to prove was the most dangerous creature in the universe. And Park Yuna had just lost 47 people she loved. The wreck wanted a hunt. They were going to get one. The twin moons climbed higher in the sky. Yuna moved through the jungle with careful steps. She was not running. She was learning. Every soldier knows that the first rule of survival is to understand your environment. The jungle around her was alien, but jungles follow rules. Water flows downhill. Predators follow prey. Plants grow toward light. Yuna found a small stream first. She drank carefully, testing the water with a small sip before drinking more. It tasted strange, but did not burn her throat. Good enough dot near the stream, she found mud. Thick, dark mud that smelled like iron. She covered her arms and face with it. The wreck had no eyes that she could see, which meant they probably hunted by smell or sound or heat. The mud would help hide her heat signature and cover her human scent. She kept moving. The jungle was full of life. Strange insects buzzed around her head. Small creatures with too many legs ran across her path. Once, something large moved through the trees above her. but it did not attack. Yuna found what she was looking for after 30 minutes of searching. A narrow ravine cut into the rock, maybe 50 feet long and 10 feet wide. The walls were steep and covered with vines. There was only one way in and one way out: a death trap for anyone stupid enough to enter, or a fortress for someone smart enough to use it. Yuna climbed to the top of the ravine and looked down. Yes, this would work. She spent the next hour preparing. The jungle gave her everything she needed. Vines became tripwires. She stretched them across the ravine entrance at ankle height. Nearly invisible in the darkness, she found a plant with leaves that oozed a sticky sap. When she touched a spark from her knife against a rock near the sap, it caught fire instantly and burned hot. She gathered piles of these leaves and placed them at key points around the ravine. She found a dead creature near the stream, something like a large lizard. It had been dead for days and smelled terrible. Yuna cut it open and rubbed its rotting insides across her clothes and skin. The smell made her want to vomit, but it would cover any trace of her human scent. Finally, she climbed up to a ledge overlooking the ravine entrance. From here, she could see anyone who entered. She could drop down on them before they knew she was there. The twin moons reached their highest point. The hunt had begun. Yuna waited. She did not have to wait long. The wreck came through the jungle like shadows. They made almost no sound, but Yuna had sharp ears. She heard the soft click of their mandibles, the quiet scrape of their claws against bark. They were spreading out, searching for her. They expected her to run, to leave a trail of broken branches and footprints in the mud. They did not expect her to be waiting. One of them found her trail from earlier, before she had covered her scent. She watched from her ledge as it followed the false path toward the ravine. It was smaller than Corvan, younger maybe, eager to prove itself. The young hunter reached the entrance to the ravine. It stopped and tilted its head, sensing something. But the rotting smell of the dead lizard confused its senses. It could not detect the human hidden above. It entered the ravine. Yuna smiled in the darkness. The tripwire caught the hunter's ankle. It did not fall, but it stumbled, its attention going to its feet for just 1 second. 1 second was enough. Yuna dropped from the ledge above. She landed on the hunter's back, her knife already moving. The wreck had armor, but armor always has gaps. The joints, the neck, the soft places where the shell did not cover. Her knife found those places once, twice, 3 times. The hunter tried to throw her off. It was strong, much stronger than her. Its claws scraped against her back, tearing through her shirt and drawing blood. But Yuna had fought bigger enemies before. She had trained for years to fight opponents stronger than herself. She knew that strength meant nothing if you could not use it. She drove her knife into the base of the hunter's skull. The blade slid through the gap in the armor and into the soft tissue beneath. The hunter made a high-pitched sound, almost like a scream. Then it fell. Yuna rolled off its body and stood up. Her back burned where the claws had cut her, but the wounds were not deep. She would survive. She looked down at the dead hunter. It was the first wreck she had ever killed. She hoped it would not be the last. Yuna searched the body quickly. She found a communication device, similar to the translator Corvan had used. She found a hunting blade, curved and sharp, much better than her small knife. She found a necklace made of bones and teeth, trophies from past hunts. She took all of it. Then she did something that the wreck would not expect. She dragged the body to the center of the ravine and sat it up against the wall. She took its own hunting blade and drove it through its skull, pinning it to the rock behind with her knife. She carved a number into the tree near the body. 9 rounds left. A message. A warning. Yuna climbed back to her ledge and waited. The other hunters found their brother an hour later. Yuna watched from the shadows as they entered the ravine. She saw them stop when they saw the body. For a long moment, none of them moved. Then one of them made a sound. A low clicking sound that might have been grief. Or maybe anger. Or maybe fear. Corvan pushed through the others and stood before the body. He looked at the blade through the skull. He looked at the number carved into the tree. 9, he said. His voice was quiet. She killed him, one of the hunters said. Track was young, but he was fast. How did she kill him? It does not matter how, another hunter said. What matters is that she did. We are 5 now, and she is 1. We find her. We kill her. We end this. No, Corvan said. His voice was strange. Different than before, that the other hunters looked at him. Hi, Hunter? One asked. Corvan reached out and touched the number carved into the tree. His claw traced the shape of it slowly. She left a message, he said. She wants us to know how many bullets she has left. She wants us to count. Why would she do that? Because she is not afraid. Corvan turned to face his hunters. She is not running. She is not hiding. She killed Track and waited for us to find him. She wants us to know. Know what? Corvan was silent for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was soft. That she is hunting us. The jungle around them suddenly seemed darker, more dangerous. Every shadow held a threat. What do we do? One hunter asked. Corvan straightened his body. He was still the high hunter. He was still the leader. We do what we always do, he said. We hunt, but carefully now. We stay together. We watch each other's backs. This human is dangerous, but she is still just one. She cannot defeat all of us. He looked at the body of Track one more time. Find her trail. Track her down. And when you find her, do not play. Do not make her suffer. Just kill her quickly. He paused. She has earned that much. The hunters moved out into the jungle. 5 of them now, not 6. They moved more carefully than before. More quietly. But Yuna was already gone. She had slipped away into the darkness while they were looking at the body. She was moving to a new position, planning her next attack. She had 9 rounds left and a new blade. The hunt was just beginning. The 5 remaining hunters moved through the jungle in a tight formation. They stayed close together, their backs protected, their senses alert. Corvan had given the order for the formation of ending, a pattern they had used for thousands of years. It had never failed, but they had never hunted a human before. Yuna watched them from high in the trees. She had climbed 50 feet up, hidden among thick branches and strange purple leaves. From here, she could see the entire hunting party moving below her. She did not attack. Not yet. She was learning. The Vrek communicated through clicks and sounds. Some were loud enough to hear from the trees. Others were quiet, almost like whispers. They used hand signals too, their forearms moving in patterns she did not understand, but she understood their fear. It was in the way they moved, the way they kept looking over their shoulders, the way their formation got tighter and tighter as they walked. Good. Fear made people stupid. Fear made people make mistakes. Yuna had a plan. It was a simple plan, because simple plans work best. Divide. Isolate. Kill. She moved through the trees without sound. Years of military training had taught her how to move quietly. The alien branches were strange under her fingers, but wood was wood. Balance was balance. She found what she was looking for half a mile ahead of the hunting party. A nest of creatures in the trees. Large creatures, like birds, but with teeth. They were sleeping, maybe 20 of them piled together. Yuna did not know if they were dangerous. She did not care. She picked up a rock and threw it into the nest. The creatures woke up screaming. They burst from the nest in a cloud of wings and teeth, flying in every direction. Their screams filled the jungle. loud enough to wake everything for miles. Then Yuna ran. She ran toward the hunters, making as much noise as she could, crashing through branches, snapping twigs, drawing attention. The hunters heard her coming. They spread out, ready to intercept. But they also heard the screaming creatures. They heard other things too. The jungle was waking up around them. Chaos. In the confusion, Yuna changed direction. She circled around the formation, moving fast and low. The hunters were focused on the noise in front of them. They did not see her slip behind them. One hunter had moved away from the group. Not far, just 20 feet. But 20 feet was enough. His name was Goran. He was big, even bigger than Corvan. He stood at the edge of a small cliff, looking down into darkness below. He was checking for threats from below. He should have been checking behind him. Yuna hit him at full speed. Her shoulder drove into his back, right between his forearms. He was heavy, solid like a rock, but she had momentum on her side. Physics does not care how strong you are. Goran went over the edge. The cliff was not tall, maybe 30 feet, but there were rocks at the bottom. Sharp rocks. Goran hit them with a sound like breaking glass. Yuna did not stay to watch. She was already moving, disappearing into the jungle before the other hunters could react. Behind her, she heard shouting, clicking, the sound of claws on stone as hunters climbed down to check on their fallen brother. 2 down, 4 left. Yuna kept moving until she found another good position. A thick cluster of trees with lots of shadows. She climbed up and waited. The hunters found Goran at the bottom of the cliff. He was not dead, but he was dying. His shell was cracked. Green blood leaked from a dozen wounds. Corvan knelt beside him. There was nothing to be done. They both knew it. Did you see her? Corvan asked. Goran made a weak clicking sound. No, she came from nowhere. Like a ghost. Rest now, brother. You hunted, well. Goran's body went still. The clicking stopped. Corvan stood up slowly. He looked at the 3 hunters remaining. Veka, a female hunter with scars on her shell. Torek, an old hunter with gray in his mandibles. And Dun, a quiet hunter who rarely spoke. She is using the jungle against us, Corvan said. She's not fighting like prey. She's fighting like a predator. What do we do? Veka asked. We changed tactics. Corvan's voice was hard. No more formation. We split up. We cover more ground. We find her before she can plan another trap. Split up? Torek said. I hunt her. That is what she wants. I know. Corvan's mandibles clicked in frustration. But if we stay together, she will pick us off one by one anyway. At least if we spread out, one of us might catch her. The hunters looked at each other. None of them liked this plan. But none of them had a better idea. They separated, each moving in a different direction. Yuna watched them split from her position in the trees. Her lips curved into a small smile. Perfect. She chose her target. Vika, the female hunter. She was moving toward a thick part of the jungle, where the trees grew close together. Yuna followed her through the trees, moving from branch to branch like a shadow. Veka was careful. She checked her surroundings constantly. Her forearms held weapons ready. She was a good hunter, experienced and smart, but she was alone. And alone was where humans were most dangerous. Yuna made a sound. A small sound, like a branch breaking. She made it behind Veka, off to the right. Veka turned toward the sound. Her weapons raised. Yun, a drop from the trees on her left. The hunting blade she had taken from track flashed in the moonlight. It cut through the thin armor on Veka's neck before the hunter could turn around. Veka fell without a sound. Yuna stood over the body, breathing hard. Her hands were shaking now. Not from fear, from adrenaline. From the rush of the kill. She had killed 3 wreck hunters in one night. 3 of the most dangerous predators in the galaxy, and she still had 9 rounds. She took Veka's trophy cord, a long rope made of woven alien hide. She tied it around her waist. Then she carved the same number into a nearby tree. 9. She could have shot Veka. It would have been easier, faster. But Yuna was sending a message. She wanted the remaining hunters to know that she did not need bullets to kill them. She wanted them to know that every shadow, every sound, every movement in the jungle could be her dot. She wanted them afraid, because afraid hunters make mistakes. And mistakes meant death. Yuna climbed back into the trees and disappeared into the darkness. 3 down. 3 left. The twin moons were starting to descend. Dawn was coming. Soon, the sun would rise on this alien world, and the blood rite would be half over. Somewhere in the jungle, Korvan was realizing that his hunt had become something else. His prey had become a predator. His game had become a war, and he was losing. Yuna found a hiding spot and rested for a few minutes. She was tired. Her body hurt. The cuts on her back from the first fight were burning, but she could not stop. Not yet. There were 3 more hunters in the jungle. 3 more enemies between her and survival. 3 more skulls for her collection. She thought about her crew. 47 people, dead because these aliens thought they had the right to hunt them. 47 lives ended for sport. The anger burned hot in her chest. It kept her warm. It kept her focused. It kept her alive. She had made a promise to herself when this hunt began. She would survive. She would kill every hunter who came for her. And then she would find a way off this moon. And after that, she would make the Vrek pay for what they had done. Not just these hunters. All of them. The whole species. Yuna closed her eyes and let the anger fill her. Then she opened them again and started moving. The hunt continued. Dawn came slowly to the alien moon. The twin moons sank below the horizon, and a red sun rose in their place. The jungle changed color in the new light. What had been dark purple became bright orange. What had been shadow became fire. Korvan stood alone in a clearing, waiting for his remaining hunters to respond to his call. He had been clicking the recall signal for an hour. Only 1 hunter had answered. Torak emerged from the jungle, moving slowly. He was old, the oldest hunter in the pack, and the night had been hard on him. His shell was dull. His mandibles moved weakly. "Where are the others?" Korvan asked. "Dead, I think." Torak's voice was tired. "I found Veka's body an hour ago. Her throat was cut. The human left the same mark nearby. 9. She has not fired a single bullet," Korvan said quietly. "No, she does not need to." They stood in silence for a long moment. The jungle around them was quiet now. Too quiet. Even the insects had stopped singing. "This is not right," Torak said. "We have hunted for 1,000 cycles. I have led more than 100 blood rites. I have never seen anything like this. Neither have I. She is not prey, Korvan. Whatever she is not prey." Korvan did not answer. He did not need to. They both knew the truth now. The human was a predator. Maybe the worst predator they had ever faced. "What do we do?" Torak asked. Korvan thought for a long moment. The rules of blood rite were clear. Once a hunt began, it could not end until all hunters were dead or all prey was killed. There was no retreat. There was no surrender. But the rules had been written for a different kind of hunt. The rules assumed that prey would run. That prey would hide. That prey would eventually make a mistake. This human did not make mistakes. "We stay together," Korvan finally said. "We watch each other's backs. We do not separate again. And if she does not come to us, then we find her. Together." They moved out of the clearing, walking side by side. Their eyes scanned the jungle around them. Every shadow was a threat. Every sound was a warning. They walked for hours, The sun climbed higher. The heat grew stronger. Sweat dripped down their shells, but they did not stop to rest. Yuna watched them from a distance. She had been following them since dawn, staying far enough away that they could not sense her. She was patient. She could wait. The two hunters stopped at a stream to drink. They took turns, one watching while the other drank. They were being careful. Smart Dot, but Yuna was smarter. She had found the stream earlier that morning. She had found something else, too. A nest of small creatures in the mud near the water. They looked harmless, like worms with legs. But when she had touched one, it had bitten her finger and injected something that made her hand go numb for an hour. She had not killed the creatures. She had just disturbed their nest and moved the mud around. Now the stream bank was full of hidden dangers. Torak knelt by the water. His hand pressed into the mud for balance. He did not see the small creature under his palm until it bit him. The old hunter made a sharp, clicking sound and pulled his hand back. The bite mark was small, but green liquid was already spreading from it. "Something bit me," he said. His voice sounded strange. "Slower. Let me see." Corvin moved toward him. That was when Yuna fired her first shot. The bullet hit Corvin in the shoulder, spinning him around. It was not a killing shot. She had not meant it to be. She wanted to wound him, not kill him. Not yet. Corvan dropped to the ground, green blood spraying from the wound. He rolled behind a rock, his good arm reaching for his weapon. Torak tried to move, but his legs were not working properly. The venom from the bite was spreading through his body. He stumbled, fell, tried to get up again. Yuna stepped out of the jungle, her pistol raised. She was dirty and bloody, covered in mud and the guts of dead animals. But her eyes were clear and cold. "Do not move," she said. Torak froze. He was on his knees, unable to stand. The venom had paralyzed his lower body. Corvan watched from behind the rock. His shoulder was burning with pain, but he stayed still. The human had proven she could kill them easily. If she wanted to talk, he would listen. "You are High Hunter Corvan," Yuna said. "Leader of this pack. Killer of my crew." "I am," Corvan said. His voice was strained from pain. "I want you to understand something before you die. I want you to know why this is happening. Then tell me." Yuna walked closer to Torak. The old hunter watched her with something like respect in his mandibles. "My species has a word," Yuna said. "We call it spite. It means wanting to hurt someone even when it costs you everything. Even when it is not logical. Even when it would be easier to just give up." She pointed her pistol at Torak's head. "Your people killed 47 humans on my ship. Scientists, engineers, people who had never hurt anyone. You killed them for sport. For fun. It is our way," Corvan said. "It is what we are. I know. And that is why I am going to end you. Not just you and your pack. All of you. Every wreck who hunts. Every ship. Every colony. I am going to spend the rest of my life hunting your species the way you hunted mine. You are one human. We are millions, I know." Yuna smiled. It was not a nice smile. That is what makes it interesting. She pulled the trigger. Torak's head snapped back. Green blood splattered across the stream. The old hunter fell and did not move again. Yuna turned to face the rock where Corvan was hiding. 8, she said. Then she raised her hand. 8 fingers up. She lowered one. 7. She vanished back into the jungle before Corvan could respond. The High Hunter stayed behind the rock for a long time. His shoulder was bleeding badly. The pain was making it hard to think, but through the pain, one thought kept coming back. She had let him live. She could have killed him easily. He was wounded, unable to fight. One bullet would have ended him. But she had chosen to kill Torak first. She had chosen to let Corvan watch. Why? The answer came to him slowly, like cold water spreading through his veins. She was not just hunting them. She was playing with them. She wanted them to feel fear. She wanted them to understand what it was like to be prey. She wanted him to suffer before she killed him. Corvan had hunted thousands of creatures across hundreds of worlds. He had seen prey fight back. He had seen prey show courage. But he had never seen anything like this. This human was not fighting to survive. She was fighting to send a message, and the message was clear. Humanity was not prey. Humanity would never be prey, and any species that tried to hunt them would learn this lesson the hard way. Corvan pulled himself to his feet. His shoulder screamed in pain, but he forced himself to move. He had to keep going. He had to finish this hunt one way or another. But as he walked into the jungle, following the trail of the human who had destroyed his pack, he knew the truth. He was not the hunter anymore. He was the prey, and his time was running out. The sun was setting when Corvan found her. She was waiting for him in the ancient stone ruins at the center of the jungle. The same place where the blood rite had begun. The same place where she had woken up in darkness, alone and afraid. She was not afraid anymore. Yuna sat on a fallen stone pillar, cleaning her knife with a piece of cloth. Her pistol rested on her knee, ready but not raised. She looked up when Corvan emerged from the trees. The high hunter was in bad shape. His shoulder wound had stopped bleeding, but his shell was cracked around it. Green liquid leaked from the cracks. His movements were slow, painful. He was dying, but he was still dangerous. Yuna did not forget that. "You could have killed me a dozen times," Corvan said. His voice was weak but steady. "You let me follow you here. You let me find you. Why?" Yuna set down her knife and looked at him. Her eyes were calm. There was no anger in them anymore. No fear. Just cold, hard purpose. "Because I want you to understand," she said. "Understand what?" "Everything." She stood up slowly. Her body was tired, but she forced herself to stay straight, to show no weakness. "Your species has hunted across the galaxy for 3,000 years, she said. "You have killed billions of creatures. You have wiped out entire species for sport. You thought you were the greatest predators in the universe." "We were," Corvan said. "We are. No." Yuna shook her head. "You were just the biggest fish in a small pond. You never met anything that could fight back. Until now." She took a step toward him. Corvan raised his claws, but he did not attack. "Not yet. Humans are different," Yuna continued. "We come from a world where everything tried to kill us. The animals, the weather, even each other. For 1,000,000 years we fought just to survive. And we won. You have no claws, no armor, no venom. No, we have something better." Yuna's voice was soft, dangerous. "We have spite." Corvan's mandibles clicked in confusion. "Spite? It means we will hurt ourselves to hurt our enemies. We will burn down our own house if it means burning our enemy with it. We will crawl through fire on broken bones just to drag our enemies into the flames with us." She took another step closer. "Your people killed 47 humans on my ship. My friends. My family. You thought you were taking prey. You thought you were adding another species to your collection." Her voice grew harder. "You were wrong." Corvan straightened his body. He was still the High Hunter. He would not show fear. "So what happens now?" he asked. "You kill me? One more body to add to your count?" "Yes, but first, I need you to do something for me." "What?" Yuna pointed to the device on his chest. The communicator that translated his words. "That device connects to your ship, does it not? The ship that brought you here?" Corvan hesitated. Then he nodded. "You are going to send a message," Yuna said. "You are going to tell your people what happened here. You are going to tell them how 6 wreck hunters died at the hands of 1 human female. You are going to tell them every detail. Why would I do that? Because if you do not, I will take that communicator and send the message myself. And I will describe how the great High Hunter Corvan died crying and begging for mercy. I will tell them you ran like prey. I will tell them you died without honor. Corvan's mandibles clicked rapidly. That was the worst fate a wreck could imagine. To be remembered as a coward. To be shamed for all eternity. Or, Yuna continued, you can tell the truth. You can tell them that we fought well. That your hunters died as hunters. That I was a worthy enemy. And then? And then we finish this. 1-on-1. No guns, no tricks. Just you and me. Corvan was silent for a long moment. His black shell glistened in the fading sunlight. His mandibles moved slowly, thinking. Finally, he reached for his communicator. Yuna watched as he activated it. She watched as he spoke in his clicking language, describing the hunt, describing the deaths, describing her. When he was done, he looked at her. It is sent, he said. My people will know what happened here. They will know that humanity is not prey. Good. Yuna set down her pistol. She kept only her knife. The blade gleamed in the dying light. Corvan's claws extended. 8 curved blades, each longer than her knife. He was wounded, but he was still bigger, still stronger, still dangerous. You do not have to do this, he said. You could shoot me now. It would be faster. I know. Yuna raised her knife. But I want you to understand something. I want your people to understand it too. What? We do not need guns to kill you. We do not need armor. We do not need anything except the will to win. She smiled. It was cold and sharp. That is what makes us dangerous. That is what makes us human. Corvan lunged. He was fast. Faster than Yuna had expected. His claws slashed through the air, aimed at her throat. But she was already moving, ducking under the attack and rolling to the side. The fight was brutal and short. Corvan was bigger and stronger, but Yuna was faster and smarter. She used the ruins against him, dodging behind pillars, jumping over fallen stones. She let him tire himself out with attacks that hit nothing but air. When he swung high, she went low. When he lunged forward, she stepped aside. She was patient. She waited for him to make a mistake. It came when he overextended. His wounded shoulder gave out, and his attack went wide. For just 1 second, his guard was down. Yuna struck. Her knife found the gap in his armor, the same gap where she had killed the others. The blade slid between the plates of his shell and into the soft tissue beneath. Corvan gasped. His claws dropped. Green blood spilled from his mouth. Yuna pulled out the knife and stepped back. The High Hunter fell to his knees. He looked up at her with something in his expression that might have been respect. You are worthy, he said. His voice was weak, fading, more than worthy. I know. Corvan's body fell forward. He did not move again. Yuna stood over him, breathing hard. Her body was shaking from exhaustion, from pain, from the release of all the tension she had been holding. She had done it. She had killed them all, but it was not over. Not really. She walked to Corvan's body and took his communicator. Then she took his trophy necklace, the one with bones from a dozen different species. She added it to the trophy she had taken from the others. 7 mandibles now hung from her belt. 7 wreck hunters, dead at her hands. She activated the communicator and waited. After a moment, a voice answered. Another wreck, probably from the ship in orbit. This is Lieutenant Park Yuna of the United Human Coalition, she said. Her voice was calm and clear. Your hunting party is dead. All 6 of them. I killed them with 10 rounds and a knife. Silence on the other end. Then clicking sounds, confusion, fear. "I am sending you a message for your leaders," Una continued. "Tell them this. Humanity is not prey. We never were. We never will be. Any wreck who hunts humans will die. Any ship that targets human vessels will be destroyed. Any colony that supports the hunt will burn." She paused. "You wanted apex predators? Congratulations. You found them." She dropped the communicator and walked away. The red sun set behind her, painting the jungle in shades of blood and fire. Somewhere above, a wrecked ship waited in orbit. They would not come down. Not after what they had heard. Not after what she had done. YUA did not know how she would get off this moon. She did not know how long it would take. But she knew one thing for certain. She would survive. And then she would make the wreck pay. Not just for her crew. Not just for herself. For every species they had hunted. For every life they had taken. For every prey animal they had tormented for sport. Park Una was not prey. She was the hunter now. And she had only just begun. 3 months later, the wrecked Dominion received a formal communication from the United Human Coalition. It contained a single image, High Hunter Corvan's trophy necklace, now strung with 7 Vrek MANDIBLES. And a message from Commander Park Una, head of the newly formed Reciprocity Division. "You hunt us, we hunt you back. You take 47 of ours. We take 47,000 of yours. You want to be apex predators? Come and try." The Vrek quietly removed humanity from their list of acceptable prey species. They never hunted humans again. And in the deepest archives of their species, a new word was added to their language. A word that had no translation in any other tongue. A word that meant something like fear and respect and warning, all rolled into one. The word was human.